All right, all right. I believe we are live. Welcome, everybody, to today's show. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a really, really, really good one because we are going to bust some big myths tonight and we're going to have a really good time doing it. So, if you are somebody who has been under the impression that in order to be able to hit your financial goals, like getting out of debt, saving more money, putting more in retirement, any of that kind of stuff, if you are under the impression that in order to do that, I got to get some draining side gigs, I got to work some endless overtime, I got to overwork myself, multiple jobs, all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about why that is a sucky, terrible, awful idea. And it is the easiest, quickest path to burnout, resentment, overwhelm, just stress, fatigue, adrenal fatigue. I mean, everything you can think of, and why you want to absolutely avoid that. But then what you can do instead, and really what's going to allow you guys to have fun, to be engaged as you're doing this, and ultimately having even more time together as a family, having a blast doing it, and being able to have it so that not only can you pay off debt, but it doesn't have to be this just overwhelming, exhausting, depressing thing where it's like you're just missing out on the family time, you're missing out on sleep, you're overwhelmed, you're exhausted, all that kind of stuff. Let's just get that all off the table and let's talk about what really, really works. Okay. So first of all, guys, I'm just going to share with you kind of my own experience and just what kind of I went through and how, my wife and I kind of processed when we were trying to get out of debt, like what we were told. So a lot of the common wisdom out there, it's really popular. Okay. Is just that in order to be able to do that, you just gotta go scorched earth. You just gotta burn, work work crazy, all the, go deliver pizzas and drive Uber and, go do all this crazy stuff, right? In order to be, in order to be able to like get out of debt or save like you want to save. Because a lot of people right now are feeling like, man, I really, really want to save. I really want to save. I want to get caught up in things like that. And so that was my impression. So that's what we kind of took as gospel and we just went for it. So when my wife and I were trying to do that, there was like a few specific things that we did. So one of them, I got a job working at Vitamix. Actually, it lasted like 2 weeks because I found out that they really don't, the company that was like, they worked with, didn't really treat the people that well. But point being, it's like, okay, I'm going to go work at Vitamix. I could go make some side money here. I was already working full time and I was already feeling kind of stretched in a sense, but I was like, okay, I'm just going to do that. Was I really that interested in it? A little bit. But then once I got into it, I was like, this is not going to be the thing for me. But if I was really desperate, I probably just would have kept doing it. Okay, so one was Vitamix. I know my wife started babysitting and watching this other baby that was like throwing up everywhere, colicky, all this kind of stuff. It was like she already had enough to take care of. But anyways, we did that. And then we were like we were delivering takeout food with Postmates and things like that. We were trying to get out of debt. And here's the thing, like, did we put some more money extra toward debt and do some things like that? Like, yeah, we did it. But what was really the result? And guys, really like during that point in time, again, I just believe like just working harder and more hours, like it would get it done. But guys, again, I was totally exhausted and worn out. And eventually I just became resentful because I had to miss time away from family. I was really taking on jobs that I knew were way below what I was probably capable of in terms of like my skill set and my value. But it was quick and it was easy money. And that was what I was told. I mean, like a lot of the big financial names out there, it's like, that's kind of what they say. And they're kind of giving general advice and generic advice to the average person. And I think when you are at a place where you are like desperate and you need like money like tomorrow, yeah, like not necessarily the worst idea, but when it's going to take you at least, 3, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years tops, like guys, driving Uber, delivering pizzas, working part-time jobs, doing all this stuff that you can't stand. It's like, and trying to think that you're going to actually want to sustain that for like a year or two. No, like it's just not going to happen. Like it'll happen for a couple months. You're going to burn out and it's going to go awful. And so guys, really it's like that, but that was my belief. And it's like, I remember we even had like a client one time and he was like this amazing couple. And this guy was super gifted. And it's like, I think he was making like $40 or $50 an hour in his day job. But then like whenever he would come home, he would go like deliver pizzas or something like that, or deliver some like, or like drive like grocery delivery and make like $15 an hour. And it was like, what's the deal? It really didn't make sense. But again, that's what he was told. And so he's like, that's what I should do. It's hurting the family. It was hurting his time, his peace of mind. He wasn't able to sleep as much. I mean, it was exhausting. And so, but that's what a lot of people are told. So if you've been told that and you've maybe tried some of that and you've been like, man, why didn't it work for me? Well, don't feel bad because I don't think it's a good idea anyway. But really, again, that's what happened is ultimately like I knew it wasn't sustainable. I was exhausted. And ultimately, guys, like here's the thing, like if you've tried that or maybe even trying it right now and you're like, it's just not really working the way that I want it to, or again, I'm kind of like feeling everything you talked about, guys, like here's the deal, like that strategy might work in order to pay off some debt like right now or get some savings right now. But guys, when it comes to sustainable wealth building, how many millionaires and billionaires got wealthy that you know of by delivering, pizza or side gigs or making, these old $10, $15 an hour, $20 an hour kind of side hustle sorts of things that really never expanded beyond that? It's like, you're not going to see that. You're not, because ultimately it's not, again, it works for the immediate kind of like, boom, it's a quick buck. But again, guys, like after, when you're finally at a place of we need to build wealth, and guys, most people, if you're watching this, a lot of the people that we talk to, they're usually, late 30s, but usually more so like a lot of times in their 40s and their 50s even. And they're behind. I mean, honestly, I've never talked to a single person, not one. And I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of phone calls with couples. I've never met a single couple where they were on track for retirement. Really having the money that they truly need to be able to retire. Not just, and guys, not just, we had a couple of the day, the guy was like, I don't see the word retirement in the Bible. And it was like, okay, I get that. But I'm not talking about just like, playing shuffleboard and counting seashells. I mean, guys, for most people, retirement, I'm just talking about survival. I'm just talking about even just like from a basic level, most people don't even have enough to survive. I'm not even talking about like, oh yeah, like travel the world and, go to Europe and go to the, East Asia and go to all these things and, go to Australia and, the Great Barrier Reef. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm just talking about survival, pay the bill sorts of thing. And so most people, they're not even there. I mean, I've never talked to one that was, even just at a survival level, let alone a thrive level, really being able to give and make an impact and do the things you want to do when it comes to retirement. And so most people, like, again, if you're especially in your 40s or 50s, you're behind, like doing a bunch of side jobs to make 10, 15, 20 bucks an hour at the like, that's not sustainable. Like, you're not going to be able to catch up significantly if you're behind doing things like that. It's not going to work. And so ultimately, there came to this point where I just asked myself, okay, like, what would happen if we stopped doing all these exhausting side hustles and like we started working smarter, as a team instead? So what we're going to talk about, guys, is really what are the things that you can do to be able to like work smarter, not harder. We're going to talk about that. Like what are and I call them the 3 M's, the 3 M's that you need to master in order to be able to actually pay off debt quicker, save quicker, put more away for the future, things like that, without having to do all that exhausting stuff that nobody wants to do in the first place, okay? Doesn't mean you don't have to work. Obviously, you got to work to make money, but we're going to talk about how to work the right way, work the smart way. Because maybe you're watching this and you're like, Jeremy, you're going to tell me I got to sell my house? I got to sell my crap? It's like, that's another one of those things. Like, no, you don't have to sell everything that you own. No, you don't have to go donate plasma. Again, things like that. Like, I think a lot of people get freaked out when I kind of talk about like increasing income and things like that because they don't have the right context for that. That's why I'm doing this video for a lot of you guys, because I think you have these preconceived notions of what that looks like because you've watched a lot of shows, listened to things where they talk about it, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to, teach teach English to Chinese kids overseas, when I come home and, and do that. It's like, no, you don't have to necessarily do that. But again, we're going to talk about what does that really look like? What does it look to work smarter and not harder, and really to master what are the few things you need to master in order to be able to actually do these things more efficiently and to be able to get out of debt faster, save more without doing all that other stuff. So first thing we're going to talk about is you need to master your money. And what I mean by that is you need to master what's already coming in. So here's the deal, okay? If you've got a hole in your cup and you keep trying to, I'm not trying to promote Yeti, but I do like the Yeti cups. If you have a hole in the cup and you keep pouring in water from another cup, double Yeti, here we go, from another cup, what's going to happen? It's just going to keep leaking out. So the first thing you have to do, if you want to actually enjoy some drink, is you need to plug the hole in your cup or plug the hole in the boat if you are sinking. But that is you got to do that first. Okay, so guys, here's the thing. A lot of couples, again, we talk to, a lot of them are even high earners, like, 6-figure, earners. It's like they're doing really well, but they're thinking that just by working your nails to the bone, that's going to fix it. And guys, that doesn't work, because again, it's like literally, it's like, you're taking money, like someone's handing you money and then you're just at like $10 and you're just kind of throwing one of them out the window because you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan. You've got to first stop the holes in the boat, because otherwise you're going to get exhausted. And this is where a lot of people, they're trying to overwork. They're like trying to climb the corporate ladder. They're trying to do a bunch of side gigs, things like this, but then again, they have no plan for the money that's coming in. And so it just vanishes in the wind and they have no idea what's going on, especially if only one spouse is really tracking and managing the money. The other one's like, where's all the money going? I don't get it. I'm working my butt off out here. I'm grinding. I'm busting it. And I don't see the payoff. I don't see where it's really happening with that. And so again, that's the reason they haven't mastered the money that's already coming in. And so eventually what happens time and time again, if you're watching this and it's clicking so far, just wait, because you know it's going to resonate. It's like eventually you get to this, what is the point? What's the point? Like, why am I working so hard ultimately? And it's like not even paying off. It's not even working. So guys, that's the first thing is like, because what happens is eventually you just kind of lose interest and then you just stop trying. You just give up. And so that's really the first thing is like, you've got to learn how to master your money. Okay. In order to be able to really get, work smarter, not harder again, when it comes to getting out of debt, getting wealth built, all this kind of stuff. Right. The second thing is you need to master your marriage. Now you might be watching this and you might already going, Jeremy, my marriage is already great. Like we're best friends, things like that. Here's what I mean. Like if there's a part of your marriage that isn't like bulletproof in the sense that, you're still taking jabs at each other, or you're still not feeling completely connected, or you don't feel like best friends, or you don't feel like, real partners in your mission, as in like, where we call them dream teams, right? But really where it's like, you're both very clear. Here's our goals. Here's where we're excited about them. Here's where we're going. Here's when we're going to get there. And money isn't something that's attractive to you. Money is not something that is exciting to you. If money isn't that, and it's not that other stuff, then guys, again, what happens is your marriage becomes a capacity stealer. It robs you of some of your ability to really, again, be as fruitful as you need to be with the finances so that you can do what you want to do. So again, the second thing is really, you've got to master your marriage, because again, it's like, even if you, like your coworkers and your work, your workmates, your boss, like every your clients can think that you are the bomb diggity and can sing your praises all day long. But again, if you come home and your spouse you don't feel like fully appreciated, respected by them, or again, your marriage is like, there's bitterness, there's resentment. Again, it's robbing you of your energy and creativity. It's causing more stress. It's taking away from your ability to really be as successful as you need to be. So that's really the second thing, is you got to master your marriage, okay? And the third thing is you have to master your mindset. And now, again, if you're hanging out here at all, you know that we're really big on marriage, we're really big on mindset, and really big on getting it so that you guys can ultimately have the type of way of thinking that allows you to be able to get where you want to be financially. And that is the number one thing that is not being taught out there, that, and from my opinion and my experience, is that almost everything else is taught about mechanics. And so the third thing, guys, that you have to master, you got to master your mindset. So again, I'll just talk briefly on like, what do I mean by that? So a lot of us want to take dominion. It's like, we want to take dominion of the world. We're like, I'm going to take dominion here in my career. I'm going to take dominion in my business, things like that. But they haven't taken dominion over this. They haven't taken dominion over this. And if you want to take dominion over the world, you first have to take dominion over your mind. You have to take dominion over your mind. And so you have to dump all the toxic beliefs and the emotions and the things that are keeping you stuck. And so guys, here's the thing. Like if your beliefs are what govern your life. They're what govern the action that you take. And if your beliefs are off and they're not healthy, like I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm too old, I'm not worthy of a promotion, or I'm not worthy to be successful in business, I don't have the time, what will these people think? Will they judge me? I'll never figure this out. I've tried and tried again. It's never going to work. This is too hard. It's always going to be this way. All of those sorts of things. What if I fail? I don't want to fail. I don't want to let these people down. All of those sorts of things, guys, if you are dealing with that, which you are, if you're watching with this, at least you're dealing with one of those, you're a human being, one. So again, it's like, it's okay. You're normal. All of our clients experience this. Even our best clients that we work with, like in our mastermind, it's like they all experience this because they're normal, they're human. It's like that's what we're there for. But again, that's what all of us have. We have it. I have it. I have it on a daily basis. I have things that pop in my head and I'm like, whoa. And if I let those things take root and I let those things continue to dominate my thinking and my thought and my emotions, it would keep me stuck. Because guys, again, it's our beliefs are what keep us from taking action. And they keep us from, even if we do take action, they rob us from the right energy that we need when we're taking action. And then ultimately what they do is they hinder our results, they block our results. Okay, so again, like if you have this belief that, I'm not, let's just say that I'm not smart enough to be able to make more money without having to do a bunch of dumb jobs. It's like the only way that I'm smart, I'm only worthy of, $15 an hour. If that's your belief, you're only going to take jobs that give you 15 bucks an hour. That you're only, and even then, even if you try to take a job where you're making 20 or 25 bucks an hour, what's going to happen is ultimately when it comes to, so how much are you asking for this? Oh, 20 bucks an hour, 25 bucks. Like, you're going to be awkward. You're going to be silent and even things like that. Or when it's like, why should we pay you this? Why should we hire you? It's like, you're going to ultimately feel like you're a fake, you're a fraud, like ultimately like you're an imposter, that you're not worth it. And so then they're never going to hire you, or even when you try to sell things in your business that are, maybe higher price, things like that. And if you don't really deep down believe it's worth it, people are never going to buy it. And so ultimately, guys, again, your beliefs, well, even if you, for one, again, if you don't have the rock solid bulletproof mindset, you're going to not take the right kind of action. Even if you do take action, it's going to ultimately stop you from getting the results that you want. And as a result of taking that action. And so, guys, that's why it's really important, because again, it's not just the beliefs that we're talking about here with your mindset, but again, guys, when you have bad beliefs, when you have crappy beliefs, your beliefs are what lead to your emotions, right? So if you believe today's a great day, how are you going to feel? I'm going to feel great. It's like, man, I feel happy. I feel good. If you look outside and it's raining and you tell yourself, man, this just sucks, it's going to be a really sad day today. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel sad, obviously, right? And so emotions that you're experiencing, like if you're watching this, I can guarantee you, because again, you're human. And especially if you are in debt, if your marriage isn't exactly where you want it to be when it comes to your communication, or you don't have enough savings, or you're feeling like just in scarcity and kind of fear and lack, guys, here's the thing. Again, you're going to feel pessimistic. You're going to feel emotions like apathy, frustration, like you're going to feel overwhelmed, you're going to feel stressed, you might feel anger, you might feel resentment, bitterness, insecurity, unworthiness, fear, like grief, depression, despair, powerlessness, all that kind of stuff, like disappointment, discouragement, all those kinds of emotions, terror. And guys, like the toxic beliefs and the emotions that you feel, guys, again, they're going to keep you from taking the steps that you need to take, an action you need to take. And even when you do take action, it's going to kill your results. Okay, it's going to sabotage your results. And so, and again, even then, when you look at it, again, it's this kind of this nasty spiral of when you're feeling those toxic emotions and things like that. And then what happens? It's like it leads to disease, it leads to, relational conflict, all that kind of stuff. Because when you're feeling crabby and you're not feeling good, what happens? You do this more with your spouse, you do this more in your relationships, you do that with your boss, whatever it would be. And then ultimately, again, it sabotages your finances, it sabotages your health, sabotages your marriage. It's just all big one pile of nasty. Okay. So guys, here's the thing, like, again, in order to be able to really be able to get out of debt faster, to be able to save faster, to be able to really build wealth quicker, it's a really bad idea to just, again, think that you can just work tons of jobs, do all this stuff that is ultimately draining and not exciting. And just, but really, guys, what's amazing is that when you, again, implement the 3 M's, that's what allows you to really actually do it in a smart way and really be able to do it in a way that's fun, that's exciting, and joyful. And because, guys, it's really about, like, more than anything, it's really about those 3 things. But at the same time, again, it's not, there's actually 4 M's, okay? So it's mastering your money, mastering your mindset, mastering your marriage. But again, guys, ultimately the 4th one is mentoring. And because, guys, the reason I say mentoring is because it's not just about knowing a bunch of, ideas and a bunch of knowledge and information. It's a matter of, you need someone to help you actually help you take that information and make it transformational, like how to really get paid your real worth, your value, finding things that like is really going to match your potential, finding what are those hidden opportunities in your area of expertise and your budget and your money, what's coming in, what's going out, all those sorts of things. Like in a nutshell, guys, like you need somebody from the outside to help you work smarter, not harder. You need somebody who's going to be able to help you just see what's there that you don't see, because, guys, you just don't know what you don't know. It's like when you have a conversation with, with someone who's wise and that really, knows you well, you walk away going, oh my gosh, sometimes, like, how many times have you had those conversations, right? Where you have a conversation and you go, man, I didn't even think about that. Like you meet with a mentor, you meet with someone like that. Like, I didn't even know it. Even if your spouse has told you 10 times and you didn't, and you weren't listening. It's like all of a sudden the one person says it and it's like, oh man, it actually clicks. It actually resonates. And so, guys, like that's what we're really talking about. Like those 3 M's plus the mentoring one, guys, that is the secret sauce. That is the secret formula. So again, guys, just a couple examples. Like I'll give you a good example of what I'm really talking about. So again, these are examples that kind of drove me nuts for the longest time, but this is just what's true. Okay. So again, like the one client I was talking about earlier, where it's like, he averaged like 40 or 50 bucks an hour, but then he's going out there driving like that. What was amazing is, like, once we stopped focusing on that and just really helped him with, especially with his marriage and with his mindset and with mastering the money coming in, it was like, he didn't have to work all these extra jobs and things like that. And he got bonuses. He got promoted within the first couple months. And just ultimately it got there and boom, it was like it took care of itself. And it's like he didn't have to go out there and work a bunch of extra stuff. He was able to just maximize what was already happening during the week and his 40 or 50 hours he was working. And so boom, got extra income, got bumped up in the next, bracket, for his job. And it was amazing. And it was like, he didn't have to go out there and do that. And so again, like that's one example of what it could look like for most people. Again, I'm just talking about like just your day job, your 9 to 5, what you're doing or doing in your business, maximizing that, like really taking that to the next level. And so that you don't have to work all these additional hours that are totally unnecessary. And so that's a good example. Another one would be like, again, we had a client, couple client, Scott and Rachel, they were commenting the day and it was so fun. It made me think of them. And it was a perfect example because what would have happened if they would have like called into a certain show or things like that, or talked about debt. It's like back in the day, it's like he was a chaplain. He was not having fun. It was not rewarding for him. And it's like the common wisdom would have been like, hey guys, you're still getting that debt. Okay, hey, like just go out there, and like, go Scott, go deliver some pizzas, go drive some Uber, things like that. But guys, he was miserable. It was sucking the life out of him, out of their relationship, out of their finances. It was sucked. And so instead of doing that, it was like really helping him to launch into what he really wanted to do, which was ultimately to help, other people, in their relationships and ultimately like to be able to launch a business and to do that. And so it was like one of those things where instead of going and doing all this other stuff that would have been some quick money, it was a matter of building a foundation of something that would last for a lifetime. And so now they're making incredibly good money, compared to what he was doing before. And it's like, and they're having fun, they're having a better time. It's like, it's meeting their values and it's like, they're having a blast. So that's another example, right? Another one would be, we had a couple, Lyle and Leslie, we love them to death. They're awesome. And I was thinking about them. And it was like back in the day, it was like, he was working this job. I'm trying to remember how much it was, like 50, 60K or something like that. And it's like, but ultimately he was like, he never really made that much more money. It's like, and he was worth so much more. And it was so obvious he came in. I'm like, dude, you're a powerhouse. It's like, why are you only making this much money? It was like, it was crazy. But again, he had so much in his mindset, so much that was robbing them in his marriage, things like that was keeping him from what I really knew he was capable of. But again, he didn't know what he didn't know. And again, it's like, if you're hanging around people that are all broke or they're struggling or they're at your same level, it's like, they don't necessarily see those things or know how to help you navigate through those things. And so that was what was amazing. Is like, we took him on, and what was cool is that a few weeks into it, he actually lost his job, which was actually a good thing. And what was really cool, you can actually watch their interview. It's if you're in our Facebook group, Debt Free Marriage, you can join it, and it's like, you'll see it there in the little units tab. You can watch their interview we did with them. But it reminded me of them because ultimately what happened is he ended up losing his job, and it was like he ended up, he was hanging cabinets and doing different things like that, and eventually unemployed. And it's like, what would have been the common wisdom for a lot of people would be like, dude, just go out there, just work, just get the next quick, easiest job, make some quick money, whatever, keep hanging cabinets, whatever, on top of, even if he's working his other job, be like, hey, do that, work an extra 20 hours a week, do that. But guys, like, it was dumb, it was inefficient. And it was ultimately below what he was really capable of. And so ultimately it was like walking him through that process. And eventually he ends up making incredibly good income. Now he's making a 6-figure income with a potential of 4, 5, 6x, I believe, his own, like what he's ever made his entire life. And it's awesome. It's exciting. And it's like, but guys, here's what's amazing. Again, it was a matter of getting those 3 things in place. It was like, first of all, again, plugging the hole in the boat, getting full mastery over what was already coming in, because it took the stress off. It gave them mastery over what was coming in, and they were able to really just breathe and really get those things under control, start making momentum, start getting those wins. It built their confidence, it built their success, right? Again, getting mastery over their marriage. The marriage was a major issue. It was a capacity stealer. It was robbing him of his ability, and even her ability, to go out there and crush it and win and be as successful as they really could be. Because when you come home and leave home not feeling like really your spouse is the one in your sales, or feeling like a failure, because of just how you're interacting with each other, the things that are being said, or even just not feeling as connected as you want to be, ultimately, again, it kills your, if your intimacy isn't where you want it to be, all that kind of stuff. Guys, it really causes a lot of suffering. And it ultimately, again, it steals you and robs you of your ability to be successful at the work that you are doing to really advance yourself and make the money and do the things that you need to be able to make that you deserve, okay? And the final thing, again, it's like mindset. Again, it was like for all of them, there were so many different fears and overwhelms. It was like the fear of starting a business, the fear of what would happen, like of asking this much money, of like, I'm not worthy of it, I'm not capable of it, like, I don't know, I'm too smart, I'm not smart enough, like, I haven't got enough degrees, I haven't, what if I haven't helped enough people before, and people don't want to listen to me, or they don't want to pay me, or they don't want to pay me this much. Guys, there's millions of them. There's millions of them. And I'm doing enough of these lives, especially talking about mindset, because guys, it's everything. and you're going to hear that time and time and time again, is if you cannot root out what are those lies, what are those fears, what are those toxic beliefs that are keeping you stuck, and the emotions that stem from them, guys, ultimately, again, or that flow from them, guys, that is what is going to ultimately sabotage you. Because when you are in depression, frustration, anxiety, fear, the creative parts of your brain shut down. You're not going to make as much money because you can't think about creative ways to be able to make more in your day job, make more in a business, doing something that you really love. Again, even starting a business. Some people like start a side hustle. It's like, for me, I was going to, there's one point I forgot to mention this too. I was going to start a business, selling bamboo sunglasses, because it was like, oh man, that'd be some quick, easy money, things like that. So I did a ton of research, spent like 20, 30 hours doing some different things. Eventually I was like, wait a second, I don't even like fashion. Why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. And I knew that I wouldn't keep it up. But again, I was following all the old traditional patterns. So again, a lot of people, when they hear me talk about it, they're like, oh man, Jeremy, well, like, again, it's like, are you saying I got to quit my job? Well, not necessarily. No. Are you saying I got to get a better job? Not necessarily. Are you saying that, I've got to start a business? Not necessarily. But guys, like I'm telling you, if it's not fun, it's not freeing. If it's not fun, if it's not exciting, it's not sustainable. It's not actually going to get you where you want to be long-term. And it might make you a quick buck. It might get you something that, like, oh man, it helps us pay off like an additional credit card. But guys, long-term sustainable wealth building, the only way you can do that is to get those 3 M's in place. And then fourth was get a mentor. Because when I finally did that, guys, that's when everything skyrocketed. When I was like, okay, who's somebody that's succeeding, that's leading people where they want to be, where I want to be? It's like, that's who I want to be with. And those are the people that helped me shorten the learning curve. I mean, I was just like, guys, it's one of those things where everyone has an expertise. Like, right, I am not an expert dentist. I am not an expert doctor, things like that. Like I try to stay in my lane. There are people that have spent tens of thousands of hours mastering their craft. And you can literally learn what they learn and not in that situation, not learn, but receive the benefit of what they've studied in a matter of hours that can completely transform your life. It's no different when it comes to your finances. There are people like ourselves. It's like, I've spent tens of thousands of hours and dollars perfecting my craft serving. It's like, guys, don't make it harder than it needs to be. It's like, some of you guys don't change your own oil. You don't do your own dental work. You don't do your own dentist. You don't do your own doctor. You don't do your own surgery. You don't do even some of you guys don't even do your own hair, things like that, all that kind of stuff. It's like, why? It's like, yeah, you could watch YouTube videos and you could do that. Some of you guys are doing that right now with COVID-19, but ultimately it's like, it's inefficient. It doesn't make sense. It's like, just go to somebody that can knock it out in a matter of like 20 minutes and be done with it. And then you can go on your day doing your thing and rocking your world and making the most of the time and the expertise that you already have and taking advantage of that. And so guys, again, I would just invite you, again, if you have never booked a call with us, if you're in a place where, again, I want to be able to pay off debt faster, I want to be able to, make more, I want to be able to, to get the savings up. I want to be able to save more for the future, but I don't want to be grinding. I get out, where I just feel exhausted all the time and I'm not having fun, and ultimately where doesn't really feel sustainable, and it's taking you away from your marriage, it's taking you away from your family, it's taking you away just even from your hobbies and the things that energize you. Then guys, again, I would invite you guys to go to dreamteammarriage.com and we will sit down with you guys. And again, we'll sit and talk about what's really going on, what's stopping you guys from a life that you guys want, what's keeping you guys from being able to really be, again, be successful and having fun and enjoying the ride. Because guys, you shouldn't just enjoy the destination. You should enjoy the journey. It should be fun. It should be something where it's like, man, I just, when it comes to making money in this way, it is exciting. When it comes to saving money, and talking about money together as a spouse, it is attractive. It's sexy. It's fun. It's enticing. It's something that we love to do. And for most people, it's not that way. And there's some people that are going to crap on the idea of that and say it's not that hard. Guys, that's not that easy. I literally had a couple the other day. They said that they're going to a marriage counselor right now. And they basically said, she was like, man, I see all these couples that they just seem so happy and so fulfilled and so just excited about marriage and things like that. And the marriage counselor basically said something like, that's all just a big farce. It's all just a show, things like that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I don't know about you, but it's my life is good. My marriage is amazing. I was like, I have the most amazing, incredible team relationship with my wife. I was like, we are loving life. Life is amazing. I was like, we're not fighting like cats and dogs. And not only are we not fighting, but we actually talk about the stuff that's hard and we have fun and we work through it. And we're actually making progress with our financial goals. We're changing lives. I'm fulfilled. It's like, you can have it all. You can, but you need to find people that can help you find it all and build that plan to be able to do the things that you want to do. okay, and the way that you want to. Again, exhausting, grinding, dragging, kicking, screaming. I'm just gonna hit my way through it and work a bunch of part-time jobs and overwork myself and exhaust myself and I'm just gonna grit it and grind it. Yeah, that'll work for like a few weeks, a few months, but again, eventually you're just going to burn out and your family's going to miss you. You're going to be exhausted and you're going to resent it. And eventually you're going to feel hopeless and helpless because it just feels like it's never going to change. It's always going to be this way. It's always going to be exhausting. And I'm going to have to work myself to death to the day I die, exhausted, unfulfilled, and just completely worn out. And I don't want that for any of you guys. It is a crappy way to live. I don't believe God wants you to live that way. When you read Ecclesiastes, he wants you to enjoy the fruit of your work. He wants you to enjoy your work. It's his gift to you. And so again, like it should not, like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have to work hard. Okay, guys, anybody that's been successful, you've got to work hard at it. Of course you have to work hard, but it should be fun. It should be energizing. It should be something that you look forward to. It should be something that you really, it's like you love your life. You love every part of it. You love every part of your work and it's a blast and it's fulfilling and it's not ultimately taking you away from the things that you love. So again, guys, if you need help with any of that stuff, go to dreamteammarriage.com. If you're watching this, you probably have heard a lot of that bad advice. So again, I would encourage you guys to question it, to really check and say, okay, what is the life that we really want? Have we mastered those 3 M's? And again, unless you're a client of ours, I've never met someone that has. And so go to dreamteammarriage.com. Again, if we can support you, we'll let you know on the call. But really, guys, on the call, break it down again. Really simply, we're going to figure out what's not working. Why are you stuck? What, ultimately, like, what are the biggest pain points? But then beyond that, we're going to help you guys figure out, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I was talking to a couple the other day and it was like, man, we just got on. It's like, we just basically thought it'd be just a bunch of information about what your program is. It's like, guys, like, that's not why, if I want to, I'd call it a sales call. We don't call it that. We call it a breakthrough session for a reason. It's not just a flashy creative title. It's because really the whole point of it is to get you a breakthrough. Like, what is it that's really keeping you from the life that you want? How is this really affecting you? And ultimately beyond that, how to actually like create the life that you want, get clarity. And we're going to talk about your dream. We're going to talk about what life could look like. We're going to talk about really what you want and really getting you guys clear. It's like, because guys, here's the thing. Like, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. And if you don't know what you want, like, how can you know how to get it? You have to get clear on that. So we're gonna get you guys clear. It's literally the best hour or so you've ever spent talking about your money together and getting clear on, again, what are your goals, what are your dreams, and how to do that. And by the end of it, guys, if we believe that we can help you, we'll talk about a strategy. We'll talk about a plan. And if we can support you, we'll walk you through that whole process. But if not, and we don't think it's a fit and we think that something else will serve you better, we'll tell you that too. I promise we'll be straight up with you. And again, we don't have time to like waste time with people that are like argumentative or jerks or people that are like, whatever, they don't have ears to hear. It's like they're, so again, it's like, I'll tell you real quick if I don't think it's a fit. At the same time, like, again, it's like we have standards. It's like, you got to be coachable. You got to be committed. It's like, you can't just want to be get rich quick. Like, if you just want to come in here and it's like, think they're going to like, I'm going to come in, I'm like 2 weeks later, I'm going to be a billionaire. It's like, that ain't going to happen. It's like, like building wealth, things like that, it takes time. But again, you can shorten the learning curve by decades if you talk to people that are really experts at helping people do that. So again, go to dreamteammarriage.com. We'd love to support you guys, and everybody have a great night. Have a great day off tomorrow. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the next show. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.